Let's get real for a second. Most of us have forgiven someone we loved, bad decisions, broken promises, financial disasters, maybe even infidelity. We told ourselves, people make mistakes, because they do. But where is the line? When does loyalty stop being a virtue and become self-destruction? And when does the flawed person sleeping beside you become someone you no longer recognize at all? Today's case begins with an affair, then a pregnancy, then a murder, then a body hidden inside a funeral home cooler, and ultimately dumped into a river. But the question that stayed with me was not simply who committed the crime. It was this: how much more can one family lose when accepting reality feels more painful than denying it? Because sometimes the most dangerous thing in a relationship is not what happens to us. It is denial. This is not just the story of a murder. It is the story of what happens when the evidence becomes undeniable, but the heart keeps searching for another explanation. I'm Joni Solomon, California family law attorney and certified family law specialist. This is On One, where law meets life. Let's get into it. This is the Ex-Coroner Murder Case. Christopher Dontell was a married father of two and a deputy coroner in Horry County, South Carolina. He is married to Erica Dontell. His profession was death. His responsibility was to handle the deceased with dignity, preserve evidence, and help establish the truth about how people died. Meagan Jackson worked as a private body transporter. She shared a home and 4 children with her longtime partner, Gregory Rice. Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontell met through the death care industry. They began working together. Then they began an affair. Eventually, Meagan Jackson became pregnant with Christopher Dontell's child. At this point, 2 families were already being torn completely apart. But the affair did not end with broken vows. According to evidence presented at Meagan Jackson's trial, text messages between Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontell discussed ways Gregory Rice might be harmed. A tire could be popped. A brake line could be cut. The significance of those messages was not simply that the language was dark. Prosecutors argued that the messages showed planning, that the two were discussing how an obstacle to their relationship might be eliminated. And 4 days after some of those messages were exchanged, Gregory Rice disappeared. The jury ultimately convicted Meagan Jackson of murdering her partner, Gregory Rice. At trial, Christopher Dontell testified for the prosecution against Meagan Jackson. According to Christopher Dontell, he drove Meagan Jackson to her partner's apartment complex in her Honda Odyssey, the same vehicle she used to transport human remains. Christopher Dontell testified that Meagan Jackson shot Gregory Rice repeatedly outside his home. Gregory Rice suffered multiple gunshot wounds, including fatal injuries to his head and chest. Now remember, Christopher Dontell was a deputy coroner. He knew what death looked like. He knew what gunshot injuries could do. He understood crime scenes. He understood evidence. He understood the importance of immediately contacting law enforcement. But according to his own admissions, he did not call 911. He did not summon help. He did not report the shooting. Instead, he helped move Gregory Rice's body. Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontell loaded Gregory Rice into the body transport van. They drove him to a funeral home, and there they placed his body inside a commercial cooler normally used to preserve the dead. Think about the inversion of that responsibility. A facility designed to preserve dignity and truth after death was allegedly used to conceal a homicide. And here is the detail that is almost impossible to comprehend. After Gregory Rice's body had been hidden inside the cooler, Christopher Dontell went to Meagan Jackson's home. He sat on the couch. He watched television with her children. Meagan Jackson showered off the gunshot residue. The children were inside that home, unaware that their father had just been killed and that the man sitting in their living room had helped their mother conceal his body. That level of compartmentalization is chilling. One moment a human body is being hidden, and the next, someone is sitting with the victim's children as though it was an ordinary movie night. And this is where the crime becomes bigger than the people who committed it, because 6 children were about to lose the lives they understood. Gregory Rice's 4 children lost their father to murder. They later lost their mother to a life sentence. Christopher Dontell's 2 children lost the father they believed they knew to a prison cell. So the adults made the choices. The children inherited the consequences. The concealment did not end at the funeral home. Surveillance evidence showed Christopher Dontell at Lowe's purchasing materials that prosecutors connected to the disposal of Gregory Rice's body. A tarp, heavy zip ties, cement blocks. Gregory Rice's body was later wrapped in that tarp, secured with zip ties, weighted with blocks, and left in the Little PD River. The man whose profession involved examining death used his specialized knowledge and industry access to help conceal one. And after the killing, after the cooler and the purchases, after the river, Christopher Dontell continued his relationship with Meagan Jackson. Even after these 2 were arrested and ordered not to communicate, the 2 violated a no contact order and continued contacting one another. That was not one impulsive decision made in a moment of panic. It was a sequence of deliberate choices, and that distinction matters because one of the questions running through this entire case is, how many deliberate choices does someone have to make before we stop calling the conduct a mistake? Christopher Dontell was initially charged with murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. In December 2024, he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and accessory after the fact. He then became a central prosecution witness against Meagan Jackson. What do I always tell you? They turn. At Meagan's trial, Christopher Dontell testified that she committed the shooting and that he participated in moving, concealing, and ultimately disposing of Gregory Jackson's body. On June 17, 2025, the jury found Meagan Jackson guilty of murder. She was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. On July 14, 2025, Christopher Dontell received the maximum sentence available under his plea, 15 years for accessory after the fact and 5 years for conspiracy. The sentences were ordered to run consecutively. 20 years in prison. The affair cost Christopher Dontell his career, his freedom, his children's stability, and 20 years of his life. But none of those consequences can compare with what Gregory Rice lost. Gregory Rice lost everything. He lost his life. Now it's time for the red flag countdown. So we're going to start with red flag number 5. Before the verdict, before the sentencing, and before Christopher Dontell raised his right hand as the state's witness, there were choices. Let's count down 5 moments when this stopped being merely an affair and became something far more dangerous. Red flag number 5, the secret pregnancy. An affair sometimes can be hidden. A pregnancy permanently changes that landscape. This was no longer a secret relationship that could simply be placed back inside a box. The pregnancy created a new reality involving 2 households, 2 existing partners, and 6 children. That was not a temporary complication. It was a life-altering truth. Red flag number 4. The jury heard evidence of messages discussing ways Gregory Rice could be harmed. A damaged tire. A cut brake line. When people engaged in an affair begin discussing another person's disappearance, injury, or death, the issue is no longer only infidelity. The state argued that those messages demonstrated an agreement and a developing plan. Let's go to red flag number 3, Gregory Rice's warning. Before Gregory Rice was murdered, Erica Dontell received an anonymous message telling her that her husband was having an affair. The sender was Gregory Rice, the man whose partner was involved with her husband. He was attempting to warn her. Gregory Rice also tried to tell Erica Dontell that Meagan Jackson was pregnant with Christopher Dontell's child. Imagine receiving that message. You are being told by a stranger that the person sharing your bed is living an entirely different life. Do you believe the anonymous sender, or do you believe the person you married? Then imagine discovering that the person who tried to warn you has been murdered. Red flag number 2. Surveillance evidence showed Christopher Dontell purchasing a tarp, heavy zip ties, and cement blocks. A person can debate an accusation. A person can reject a rumor. A person can argue with a witness. But a receipt is different. A receipt does not care which version of someone you love. It records what was purchased. Red flag number 1, the disposal of Gregory Rice. Christopher Dontell admitted helping move Gregory Rice's body, conceal it in a funeral home cooler, wrap it, weigh it down, and dispose of it in the Little PD River. At that point, this was no longer an affair. It was no longer merely a marriage in crisis. It was a series of deliberate decisions made after a human being had been killed. And once you learn that your spouse participated in concealing another person's murder, the question is no longer simply, who did I marry? It becomes, was I truly ever safe inside the life we built? There's another person in this story who deserves to be discussed. Erica Dontell, Christopher Dontell's wife. We spent a great deal of time discussing Christopher Dontell, the coroner. We discussed Meagan Jackson, his affair partner. We discussed the affair, the pregnancy, the murder, and we discussed the cover-up. But imagine being the wife. You believe you are married to a public servant. You are raising 2 children together. You are managing the everyday life of a family. Dinner, homework, birthdays, extracurricular activities, bills, work, play dates. The small routines that make a home feel safe. Then an anonymous text message arrives and tells you that your husband is having an affair, that the other woman may be pregnant, and the anonymous sender is later murdered. Eventually, your husband is arrested, and you learn that he did not simply have just an affair. He helped move a body. He helped conceal that body inside a funeral home. He purchased items used to dispose of it. He helped dump another human being into a river. Then you find yourself sitting in a courtroom, trying to reconcile the man you married with the man described by the evidence. Erica Dontell took the witness stand during Meagan Jackson's trial, and it so happened to be her and Christopher Dontell's actual wedding anniversary date. She described the husband she knew. Kind, sweet, a man who loved pizza and baseball. At Christopher Dontell's sentencing hearing, she told the court that she made the choice every day to remain married to him. She portrayed Meagan Jackson as a profoundly destructive influence on her family. She described her husband as having been under Meagan Jackson's influence as though he had been bewitched. And I am not interested in mocking a woman whose family was destroyed. I'm interested in the distance between the husband she remembered and the choices the evidence revealed, because those are 2 very different stories. One is built upon years of shared memories, a marriage, children, private jokes, ordinary evenings, pizza, baseball. The person she believed she knew. The other story is built upon affair messages, surveillance footage, a tarp, zip ties, cement blocks, a funeral home cooler, a body in a river, and eventually a guilty plea. The law does not prosecute spells. It prosecutes choices. That does not mean influence is irrelevant. It does not mean manipulation never occurs, but influence does not erase agency. And explanations do not automatically eliminate accountability. Sometimes the greatest betrayal is not merely the affair. It is the distance between who we believed someone was and who their choices reveal them to be. That's so powerful, I have to repeat it. Sometimes the greatest betrayal is not merely the affair. It is the distance between who we believed someone was and who their choices reveal them to be. And when that mask slips, be prepared for your awakening. This is where the family law analysis matters. When a family is hit by an arrest, incarceration, catastrophic betrayal, or sudden loss of income, the emotional crisis does not spin the practical one. Someone still has to ask, how will the children be supported? Who is legally responsible for the bills? What assets and debts exist? What income remains available? How will the household stay stable if one parent is suddenly gone? How will the children maintain a routine? Those questions can feel cold when a family is grieving. They are not cold. They are protective, because reality does not wait for your heart to catch up. The mortgage remains due. Accounts continue moving. Legal expenses accumulate. Income disappears. Assets may require immediate protection, and children still need food, housing, schooling, medical care, routine, and emotional stability. By the time many people walk into my office, they are standing between two paths. One path is reality. The other is hope. Hope that the affair was not real. Hope that the lies were not intentional. Hope that someone else was responsible. Hope that the relationship can somehow return to what it once was. Hope is human, but when hope replaces reality, hope becomes dangerous. Family court does not have the luxury of asking only, why did this happen? It must ask, what needs to happen now? Who protects the children? Who preserves those assets? Who pays the mortgage? Who keeps the lights on? Who makes the decisions? Who moves forward? The law requires action, even while your heart is still breaking. Protecting yourself is not automatically abandoning your spouse. Protecting your children is not disloyalty. Sometimes it is the first responsible decision anyone has made in a very long time. Reality does not wait for us to become emotionally ready. While we are trying to explain away someone's choices, life keeps moving. Bills become due. Savings declines. Legal fees grow. Income changes. Property requires protection. Children continue watching. Sometimes the family home is lost. Sometimes financial security disappears. Sometimes one spouse spends months or years trying to preserve a relationship that no longer exists, while the family's future quietly slips away. And sometimes the most expensive thing you will ever own is a false belief you refuse to release. That is not a criticism of people in pain. Denial can be a deeply human response to devastating information. When the truth threatens everything you believe about your marriage, your family, and your own judgment, your mind searches for another explanation. Maybe it was not really him. Maybe someone manipulated him. Maybe he was confused. Maybe he will return to the person he used to be. Those explanations may help someone survive the first shock, but they cannot become a permanent substitute for reality, because accountability must remain with the person who made the choices. And then there are the children, the innocent ones. They didn't choose any of this madness, but they live with the consequences. They need at least one adult willing to face reality. So the children are not forced to carry the emotional burden themselves. Children notice everything. The anxiety, the depression, the financial pressure, the uncertainty, the whispered conversations, the sudden absences, the feeling that their world is no longer safe. They may not understand every fact, but they understand instability. Protecting children means giving them age-appropriate truth, stability, routine, and one parent capable of making difficult decisions. If investigators are knocking at your door, if you're learning about secret relationships, if criminal allegations are developing, if your spouse's conduct threatens the financial and emotional stability of the home, your first responsibility may no longer be saving the marriage. It may be protecting yourself and your children. That is not giving up. That is parenting. That is leadership. Blind devotion does not prove the depth of your love. Sometimes it only increases the cost of your denial. Watching Gregory Rice's daughter take the witness stand stopped me. Not because children never testify, sometimes they have to, but because no child should ever have to carry the weight of adult choices. As I watched her testify, I couldn't help but think about something I see in family law. It doesn't happen in front of television cameras. There aren't reporters sitting in the courtroom. No one is covering it on the evening news. But it happens every day. Parents pull their children into the adult conflict, not as witnesses, but as confidants, as sounding boards, as messengers, as little therapists. I hear it all the time. I just wanted my child to know the truth about what their father did. I was just being honest with her. He deserves to know why we're getting divorced. Let me say something that may be difficult to hear. That is not your child's burden to carry. Children deserve the freedom to love both parents without feeling responsible for managing the emotional fallout of adult decisions. They should never feel like they have to choose sides. They should never become investigators in their parents' marriage. They should never, ever feel responsible for comforting the very adults who are supposed to protect them. As parents, we sometimes convince ourselves we're simply telling our children the truth. But there is a profound difference between giving child age appropriate information and asking them to carry emotions that only belong to adults. One protects the child, the other asks the child to protect the parent. And those are two very different things. One of the greatest gifts you can give your child during a divorce is the freedom to remain a child. Let the lawyers carry the legal battle. Let the judge decide the legal issues. Let your friends carry your tears. But don't ask your child to carry your pain, because childhood is too short and too precious to spend it holding the emotional weight of someone else's marriage. Your child is not your therapist. Your child is not your best friend. Your child is not your investigator. Your child is not your messenger. Your child is not your lawyer. Your child is your child. Let them stay there. You be the judge. I want to ask you a question. Not as a juror, not as lawyers, but as husbands, wives, parents, sons, daughters, and friends. Imagine you've been married for years. You have children together. You've built a home, a life, a future. Then, one afternoon, your phone lights up. An anonymous message appears. It says your spouse is having an affair. You don't believe it. A second message arrives. This one says the other person is pregnant. You tell yourself there has to be another explanation. You choose to trust the person you married. Then, the person sending those messages is murdered. Your spouse is arrested. You discover there wasn't just an affair. There was a conspiracy. A body hidden inside a funeral home cooler. A tarp. Heavy zip ties. Cement blocks. A river. Everything you thought you knew about your marriage begins to collapse. Months later, you receive a subpoena. You walk into a packed courtroom. The cameras are rolling. Your children know you're there. You raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth. Now, I want you to think about this. Would you testify for your spouse? Would you stand beside the person you married? Or would you finally accept that the person you loved may no longer be the person standing before you? At what point does loyalty end and accountability begin? At what point do you stop protecting someone else's choices and start protecting yourself and your children? And here's one more question. When someone you love repeatedly shows you who they are, what does love require? More excuses or more honesty? There isn't an easy answer because this isn't just a question about Christopher Dontell. It's a question about all of us. How long do we keep arguing with reality before reality makes the decision for us? You be the judge. Here's my verdict. The murder was not the only tragedy. The tragedy began long before the first shot was fired. It began with deception, betrayal, choices that destroyed 2 families, 6 children left to live with consequences they never chose. But perhaps the greatest tragedy wasn't the crime itself. It was the refusal to accept reality. Reality is not the enemy. Reality gives us information. It gives us the opportunity to protect ourselves, protect our children, preserve our resources, establish boundaries, and choose a different future. Denial does the opposite. It convinces us there's nothing to protect until there is nothing left. The law cannot save someone who refuses to confront what is standing directly in front of them. Loyalty is a beautiful quality until loyalty requires you to abandon your own judgment. When loyalty lasts longer than common sense, it is no longer loyalty. It becomes self-destruction. And too often, the people who pay the greatest price are the ones who never made the destructive choice in the first place. My verdict: never become so loyal to someone else that you betray yourself, because peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose when you stop negotiating with chaos. Let me share something with you. And this is for anyone who has spent so much time trying to save someone they love that they forget to save themselves. If that's you, I hope you hear this. If you asked me today, what do I need to heal after loving someone whose choices changed everything? My answer wouldn't begin with the other person. It would begin with you. After more than 2 decades in family law, people often ask me, what's the hardest part of divorce? My answer surprises them every time. It isn't the division of assets. It isn't the court dates. It isn't even the divorce itself. It's losing yourself. It's waking up one day and realizing your entire identity has become someone else's life, someone else's choices, someone else's problems, someone else's chaos. You become so focused on holding everything together, protecting the children, fixing what is unraveling, that somewhere along the way, you disappear. Behind the legal filings and the formal proceedings, there is often a quieter tragedy taking place. A person who slowly surrendered their own peace, their own identity, without even realizing it was happening. Somewhere along the way, the questions changed from, what do I need? What brings me peace? Who am I outside of this relationship? To simply surviving another day of someone else's choices. I see it time and time again. I see people whose health has deteriorated under years of chronic stress, people who stopped exercising, people who stopped laughing, people who put their own dreams on hold, people who no longer recognize the person staring back at them in the mirror. There is no prize for sacrificing yourself until there is nothing left. The greatest casualty in a broken relationship isn't the relationship itself. It's the person who slowly disappeared trying to sustain it. If I could tell you one thing, it would be this. Don't spend the next chapter of your life trying to understand why they made the choices they made. Spend it rediscovering who you are. Heal your body, heal your mind, protect your health, reconnect with the people and pursuits that light you up. Rediscover your purpose. Become someone who no longer needs another person's permission to be happy. Laugh again. Dream again. Build a life that belongs completely to you. Become someone you would have admired before you ever met them. Because healing doesn't begin when you finally understand the other person. Healing begins the moment you start asking, what do I need? The strongest relationships are built by two whole people who continue growing individually and together. And when that is no longer possible, don't lose yourself trying to force it, because there's no greater loss than looking back at your own life and realizing the person you abandoned was yourself. You cannot sacrifice enough pieces of who you are to fix someone else's choices. And when you're tempted to go back, when you're tempted to keep asking why, remember this. Stop interviewing the past. Stop cross-examining people who have already answered every question with their actions. The verdict is in. The evidence has been admitted. You don't need another witness. You don't need another explanation. You don't need another apology. The only case left to argue is the one you're making against yourself every day you refuse to move forward. So close the file. Heal. Choose peace. Build a life so full of purpose that your past no longer gets to bill itself as your future. Because the greatest freedom you'll ever win isn't your divorce. It's getting yourself back. If I leave you with one thing, Maya Angelou famously taught us, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I'm Joni Solomon. This has been On One. Love hard, leave smarter.